my friends. So the last skill we are going to work on today is being able to look at a table and determine the relationship between our two columns and come up with an equation for that. So this kind of brings in our skill of PEMDAS and being able to solve with orders of operations, so we can review that a little bit as well. All right, so this says the table shows the number of apples, T, so this is the number of apples in this column, and it looks like we have 4 terms in this column, or 4 numbers, and the number of apples in this column depends on the age of the tree, so the age of the tree is over here, and this is C. So it's saying that if the age of the tree is 2 years old, or maybe 2 days old, or 2 months old, it doesn't matter, but we'll say the age of the tree is 2 years old, then it has 1 apple. If the age of the tree is 3 years old, then it has 4 apples. If the age of the tree is 4 years old, then it has 7 apples, and if the age of the tree is 5 years old, then it has 10 apples. So what it's asking us to do is, how can we represent this relationship between the age of the tree and the number of apples with an equation? So what's nice about this is we can try some of them out. It already gives us some of the equations. So, oops, I'm gonna erase that. Okay, so if we look at our first choice, T equals 5C minus 3, okay? When you see a number next to a letter, and we know this column is C right here, when you see a number next to a letter, okay, it's telling us to multiply, all right? So we're going to rewrite it as T equals 5 times, and we're going to just try out the first letter or first term in our C column. So that's going to be 2. Okay, so because it's 5 times C. All right, so 5 times 2. So 5 times 2 and then minus 3. Now we know from PEMDAS that we need to solve the multiplication first. So I'm going to put parentheses around that, and I get T equals 10 and then minus 3. So that's T equals 7. Now I input or put in 2 into this equation, and it's saying that when I use this equation, I'm supposed to get that it equals T. Now this equation does not give me 1, it gives me 7. So this equation is not right, right? So let's try, we're gonna try another one. Let's try this equation. T equals 5C plus 3. Okay, so let's just try it with the first number in my C column. So T equals 5, remember when it's next to it, you multiply, so 5 times 2 plus 3. We know from PEMDAS that we solve the multiplication first. So 5 times 2 is going to give me 10, plus 3 is going to give me 13. Okay, so when I'm using this equation, I'm looking for it to equal 1, right? Because T equals 5C plus 3. When I input that first number, it's supposed to equal 1, but I'm getting 13, so this is also not the right equation. Let's try another one. Let's try this one over here. T equals 3C minus 5. So T equals 3 times, because it's next to that letter, so 3 times 2. We're going to use the first number, minus 5. So 3 times 2 is going to give me 6, and then 6 minus 5 gives me 1. Perfect. All right, so when I put in 2 into this equation, it gives me 1. So when I put the input, it gives me the correct number as an output. Okay, so this is the right equation. T equals 3C minus 5. Now we know we always check our work, so let's just be careful with this one. Let's try one more term. So we're going to input 3. So 3 times 3 gives me 9, and 9 minus 5 gives me 4. So when I input 3, I get 4. Okay, and this equation should work for each of the numbers, each of the terms in your C column. Whatever you put in using that equation, you should get out what's in the T column. All right, so this is our correct one. we're going to close that, click on it, and we did a good job.